Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lost Plating the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. Hi, guys. It has been a little bit of a week. My voice started to go out over the weekend, I think, and it is fucking annoying that it's still not back. I've been dealing with various things over the past couple days. Had to cancel a couple shows. I really hate it, but it is what it is. Last night was a surprise. And I'm not going to get really into what happened because it's not anybody's fucking business. But basically, everybody is fine. Everything's okay. I just had to spend the entire night last night making sure that someone was okay. So sometimes that happens when you're a dad. And that's how it goes. But everybody's good. Nothing was actually any problem. So just so you know, because some of you might care someday. It's February, guys. That means it is my month. My month has come. Finally, Black History Month. Finally, I get 29 days this year to be recognized for my blackface efforts. And yeah. I'm really excited for this. I think now is the year of the blacks because it's the month of the blacks and it's this year. So it's the year of the blacks. So we're going to do that. Tonight, though, is a quintessentially white live stream where we are going to talk about Vince McMahon of the World Wrestling Entertainment Incorporated, the WWE. There is a spicy civil complaint in federal court filed by a Janelle Grant, who is an employee of the WWE, against the organization and Vince McMahon himself. Also, John Laurinaitis. I don't watch wrestling. Do you? Do people? Is this a thing that people do still? I hear they do. It seems exceedingly popular. Actually, you know what? When I went down with Lady Rackets, I think it was to Dallas, to go on the Blaze, to go on Elijah Schaefer's final show, the You Are Here final show, the show I personally murdered. I am the Grim Reaper. To go on that final show, I went with Lady Rackets, and when we were coming back to Minnesota, we get to the Dallas airport, and we had to return the rental car. And I think so. Anyway, we had to return the rental car, and we had to get on the little shuttle back to the airport from the rental station, and they just had WWE Raw. Or is that the one? Is that the one that I don't know. I don't even know what wrestling is, like what the companies are, but they had the Raw thing was there that day. There's so many fucking people on this bus in wrestling stuff. Some like steel chairs. I'm like, why are you on a shuttle to an airplane with a steel chair from this? It was it was something. I don't know. It seemed really popular, though, because it was really fucking busy in Dallas, and all these people are in wrestling attire, everybody going to the airport. And I was like, I guess people really still are fans of wrestling. And I thought that's great. Sweaty men touching each other always need, attention, I guess. And they just don't get enough of it. So we're going to talk about this, though. This is Janelle Grant, and she is filing a complaint against the organization, like I said, and Vincent McMahon mostly. And it's really salacious and spicy. It is 67 pages, but I think that also includes pictures of text messages and stuff. Should be a blast. That's going to be pretty much the show tonight. We're going to go through the complaint and laugh at how horrible Vince McMahon apparently is. He's now stepped down since this has been filed. And it's, it's a thing. He stepped down before, though, and came back. So hopefully he'll come back again because, look, if you provide this much entertainment, you should probably be there. I mean, who cares how horrible of a human being you are? Also, since it is Black History Month, I am going to drink whiskey tonight. Maybe. That's up to you guys. I only have this much. I wonder what, should we set goals for it? Should we set super chat goals for it? Here we go. We'll do it this way. I will do a shot at, I will do a shot at every $150 that comes in. Total, not at a time, total, until it's gone. And it'll be fun. It'll be great. But we only have 2 hours of the show tonight. It should be a pretty quick show. We're going to get going right on track and we'll get focused on it. And that'll be that. First things first, we're going to read a couple more, or a couple of super chats that have come in, and then we're going. Chris from the 80s, welcome to lawyer status. That was at 4:17 p.m. when I set up the show. Rick Nikita, 5:42 p.m. This is a long time ago, says, tell me why I shouldn't put a bullet through my brain water. If you just put the bullet through your brain water, that doesn't imply anything happens other than a bullet going through your brain water. So, I mean, it seems difficult or dangerous. Don't do that. Cindy Lou Hoot, with a paralegal chat, says, I'm not going to be here. It's too late for Granny. Oh, sorry, Cindy Lou. And then Lost in Lost has 2 theories for last night. Either Nick sprained his lady parts, true, but unrelated, or he was so gait and lay, he acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. How you doing, brother? I'm doing pretty well, man. Pretty well. Again, aside from the sickness and my voice being gone, we have that. But all of that said, we're going to have a good time doing this stupid complaint, enjoying some mirth, and maybe having a drink. I don't know. I kind of liked Sober January. We're going to see how we go, but it's February now. And February is Black History Month. The only regret I have is I don't have any Hennessy, because I would have drank that. Am I on drugs? No. But that would be funnier. All right, here we go. We are going to go straight to this complaint. Not going to take a long time. We are still going to do the Rumble flip at 1 hour in or so, and then we'll carry on. Hopefully we can get through this whole damn thing. This is Janelle Grant as a plaintiff versus the World Wrestling Entertainment Incorporated, World Wrestling Entertainment LLC, Vincent K. McMahon, and John Laurinaitis as defendants. So this is a complaint. You file a civil complaint, and then they file an answer, or they file a motion to dismiss. Well, they'll always file a motion to dismiss. In federal court, it'll be a 12B6 motion to dismiss. Whether they're going to win or not, they'll file it. And then, you raise any other affirmative defenses or dismissal motions. And then once those fail, they'll file the answer. So that'll all happen in the process of this case. This was just filed, I think, on the 25th of January. Now, the way federal court works is different. Minnesota's the weird system. Federal court works pretty much the same as most other places. You file your document, and then you serve the document after that. And the filing date matters, but the service date also matters. In Minnesota, you serve the document, and then you have a year to file, roughly a year to file. But all of the timelines start on service. So in Minnesota, if someone gets sued, you don't actually know that they've been sued because it doesn't necessarily show up in any filing. You can resolve the lawsuit without anybody filing any documents in court at all. You just serve the papers. But all the timelines go from the date of service, not from the date of filing. In federal court, different timelines matter. The filing timeline matters. The service timeline matters for different types of things. So this is filed on the 25th. Don't know if it's been served on all the parties yet. Once the parties get served, their clocks start ticking on their answers and their motions, and that will all happen sometime in the near future. But that's what's going on here. Oh my goodness. We got Jim Satala says, wait, so you're not going to talk about satanic lesbian feminists who are into incestuous puke porn and transing kids drawing comics? No, Jim, don't you... Are you trying to get me involved in that? Are you trying to get me involved in what I think you're trying to get me involved in? Jim, you better stop. You better stop. Also, I'm going to visit you as soon as I can. Outpost Nerd says, hey, Nick, need some prayers for my dad. He was having sharp pains in his sides. He was dry heaving, so the ambulance was called, and he was taken to the ER. Took them 45 minutes to get here. Hopefully, it's nothing too serious. Jesus Christ. Yeah, Outpost Nerd, we're gonna pray for your dad a little bit off the stream. If any of you guys are prayers or believers or whatever, throw some good requests to Big JC up in heaven for this guy's dad. Contrarian 420 says, when was last show not mentioning Trump 2023? Yeah, it's been a while. I mentioned this a couple times. I was stupid, all right? And I said, I don't want to talk about Trump every day. And then he got criminally charged 500 times, civilly sued 7 billion times, and he's in the news every single day. And the real kicker right in the ass cheeks is that his issues that he's being sued on stand to change how the Constitution works forever because they've never been defined. And so it's really goddamn interesting. It's a generational, he's got like 5 different generational issues that you will never see come up. And then now they're here. So it got cool. So since I said I'm not going to talk about Trump, lo and behold, Trump became very, very interesting. Okay. There we go. So let's get into this thing a little bit deeper. So I'm not going to read this stupid stuff here. We're just going to keep going. Plaintiff Janelle Grant is a former employee of WWE who was the victim of physical and emotional abuse. Get over it. Sexual assault and trafficking. That's a little worse. At WWE, Ms. Grant is filing this lawsuit not just to address her own suffering, but also to act for those who are afraid to speak out. I love these lines. They don't matter. Fucking, you can't sue on behalf of other people unless they're like consenting to it, or there's a statute specifically empowering you to sue for someone else. So these are just those throwaway lines by a lawyer to be like, she's suing to stop the madness coming from Vince McMahon. And that, for others though, well, it's like, but she's going to collect the money, so it's good. WWE's billionaire founder and executive chairman, he got $1 billion building wrestling. Guys, I need $1 billion idea. Does anybody have $1 billion idea that I can have? Like, I know you don't need it. I'll take it though. An executive chairman defendant, Vincent K. McMahon, lived in a penthouse duplex in Miss Grant's apartment building. The two met in March 2019 when Miss Grant was dealing with profound grief and struggling financially after devoting years to around-the-clock caregiving. Her parents passed away. On top of that, she was unemployed and her family home was lost in her parents' bankruptcy. Okay. That's not good. After her family passed away, wait, all of them are just her parents. Maybe that was her only family. Miss Grant dedicated herself to finding gainful employment. Neighbors in her building provided career advice and sought her assistance with personal events. Miss Grant used these non-paying roles in volunteer work and community initiatives to build her resume. Oh shit, I've been ignoring the Rumble chat. I'm so sorry, guys. Never mind. I was hiding your window. I'm sorry. The building's resident manager wanted to help. She messaged McMahon to ask whether he would talk to her, sharing that Miss Grant had been through hardship and would do great things if given a fresh start. McMahon enthusiastically responded, "Hell yes." That seems weird. Does that seem weird to anybody else? Like, the building manager comes up to Vince McMahon, is like, by the way, there's this person and she's been through hardship and she'll do great things. He's like, yeah, yes, give me more people to just randomly employ that I don't know. That would be awesome. That's how I became a billionaire, is by employing people from my apartment building that are just bankrupt and told by the resident manager that they're good at something. Seems weird, but I'll take it. It doesn't matter. It's just a funny, like, how much meth was he on at the time? McMahon befriended Miss Grant, giving her hopes of a new life with promises of a yet-to-be-determined role at WWE and showering her with attention and assurances. Was this chick super smoking hot? Like, is Janelle Grant? God, wish I could find my mouse. Janelle Grant. Images. Oh, she's kind of cute. We'll pull her up. Which picture do I pick? Oh my gosh, what? Oh, anyway, here we go. So this is her. This is Janelle Grant. Pretty woman, right? So now we see why Vince McMahon's like, oh, hey, I'm your friend. Here's a bunch of presents. I'm going to give you a job soon. Ladies of the chat, can I level with you, please? If a billionaire is like becoming your friend and just giving you a bunch of shit. And he's a guy and you're a woman. He's like, oh, yeah, girl, I'm going to give you a job. I'm going to give you a job so good. Like, he's probably going to sexually assault you. It's just going to happen at some point. And I just really want women to stop being surprised by this. Like, oh, he just really wants to value my skills as a worker. Why? He doesn't know what you do. He knows what them hips do. Anyway, showering her with attention and assurances along with gifts like a VIP experience at WrestleMania, but what seemed like a dream in the spring of 2019. Oh, that's some. That was some quality. That was some English right there. You seemed like a dream in the spring of 2019. Oh, that's some fucking. That's assonance right there. Quickly became a nightmare as McMahon dangled career-making and life-changing promises in front of Ms. Grant. He demonstrated increasing lack of boundaries. Yeah. Apparently the boundary wasn't accepting just tons of random gifts from just your friend in the apartment complex who's a billionaire, drooling all over your bras or whatever. Those weren't the boundaries. The boundaries are suddenly whatever he's doing next. Now, look, of course, these are worse things. Obviously, the other one, like, it's not a problem to get or give gifts. But never mind accountability. During several meetings that were ostensibly about potential job at WWE, he greeted her in his underwear. Several meetings. Touched her, repeatedly asked for hugs, and spent hours sharing intimate details about his personal life. Several meetings. It's always this story, isn't it? Like, look, I'm willing to accept that Vince McMahon did all sorts of terrible things to this woman. And it's not about that. It does not absolve him of liability or make her responsible for it. But my God, look, if I show up, if I'm like going to Best Buy, I'm like, hey, I got fired from YouTubery. Can I have a job at Best Buy at the Geek Squad? And the Geek Squad guy comes out in his tighty whities. And it's got like a peanut butter stain on the front or whatever. I am not going back for the second interview. Not at all. But these showbiz things, well, he just came out in his underwear. I mean, that's how I do my interviews with people, but I don't have any well, Ryan, the editor, what does that say about Ryan? Hey, Ryan. McMahon warned Ms. Grant to keep their closeness secret, lest rumors lead to public trouble, and added that while he protects loyal people, he had world-class legal resources on speed dial to deal with people who became a problem. Oh boy, Vince, I hope you called him. Tara Rayner says, I have uses for your throat. For mine? Are you talking about Vince McMahon saying that to her? I hope it's. I don't want. What do you, Tara? What do you want to use my throat for? That's weird. Oh, Mr. Nobody says, I see why April is into you. What? Uriah of the House Right says, clearly this Whammon has zero stance. Zero stance. Zero stance. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Here we go. McMahon warned, keep the closeness secret. As such, when McMahon pushed Miss Grant for a physical relationship in return for long-promised employment at WWE, she felt trapped in an impossible situation, submitting to McMahon's sexual demands or facing ruin. That's it. There's nowhere in between. Wasn't she already ruined? I thought that was the whole point. Like, she was already ruined, and she's like, well, what are they going to do to her? I guess it would be defamation type stuff, but is she like going, I don't know, very confused. Ms. Grant feared she had everything to lose. You don't have anything, and face negative consequences no matter what happened. After succumbing to the pressure for a physical relationship, Miss Grant was slotted into an entry-level position as an administrator coordinator, a position McMahon created for her in WWE's legal department. That's ballsy as shit, right? Like, you're going to create a stoogey position to put your side chick in, and you put it in the legal department. You create a whole new job in the legal department. Did he consult with the legal department? Like, can we do this? Is that the right moves? Is this how we cover this up? Because guys, right there, Right there. A drunk on tacos says FBI raided Vince for electronic communication after the allegations that caused him to step down the first time. Cool. That doesn't mean anything to me, but I take it. The twisted one says a birthday toast, if you will, sir. That's premature in the super chats, but we will do a birthday toast anyway. Almost done raising triplets. Can't wait to empty the nest in a couple years. You're like grabbing the nest, like, go. Dumping them out. I don't care if your wings work. Go away. Toxic Brood says, Nick, you should look up. This is a shitty cork. It's glued. And now it's like an alcoholic proof cork. Give me right. Damn it. I'm not drinking Templeton Rye tonight. We're going to drink something else. Why is it like this? Why does it have to? Oh, we got Willet. I'm not going to drink all of this Willet. Legal Vice says, God is speaking to you. Don't drink. Just don't drink. No, it's don't drink until you get pliers in your office. Okay, here we go. Windows wants to shut down right in the middle of broadcast. God, anyway. Okay, here we go. The twisted one. Happy 58th birthday. What is my happy 58th birthday? 58 is a venerable year, of course. Not quite to 60 though, so you're still young, you're still spry, you're still limber, and you still have so much life left to experience. Though so much is left behind you. The people you have met and impacted value you as a person, as a friend and companion, and the people you have yet to meet wait in anticipation for your presence. Cheers to you. Happy birthday. Matrix Tech says, check out the Justin Moan case. I promise you won't be disappointed. Who the fuck is Justin Moan? I wouldn't want my last name to be Moan. All right, here we go. Back to this. I'm still baffled by the audacity of putting that in the legal department. Ms. Graham began to work in that role on June 17th, 2019. Now, if you create a job that didn't exist, what does she work on? Was that a shot? No, it was a sip, homie. Calm down. I know you're going to tally up the drinking, but settle down. Ms. Grant remained in that role with the exception of a temporary relocation to XFL. Oh, God, it's brutal. Extreme Football League until McMahon verbally directed her to transfer to the Talent Relations Department. Reporting to defendant John Laurinaitis on March 9th, 2021. That's a good day. During a conversation the same day, McMahon explained that her presence in the legal department was effectively delaying efforts to hire a new general counsel for the company. Her presence at a fake job that was a... Never mind. I kind of just... Legal Vice says, clearly there is no God, or he would have told you not to drink that Willet pot still swill. Look. It's for the bottle, brother. It's I've had this thing forever. It's a 175 of this Willet pot still. You're right. It's not any good. There's worse whiskeys. Most whiskeys are better, but it's for the bottle itself, and I just have to eventually get through it. So what better time than the present to resume that task? And then Tara Rayner. Oh, wait, he says, but hey, cool bottle. Good for melting candles. And Tara Rayner says, check Facebook DM for my previous chat reference. Oh, that doesn't sound like a good idea. Maggie Ellis says, had to make sure you saw my brilliant idea. If you wanted to start a coffee company, you could do a reverse homage for Daryl Brooks and call it Grounds. I dig you. Good night. Oh, yeah, the Grounds coffee. That would be good. It's like, I just think the marketing might be tough. Right? Like, what does Grounds coffee mean? Well, you remember that guy. He had a Ford Escape. He was kind of popular. A musician, really. Hip-hop artist. And what he did with the Ford Escape was he ran over a bunch of children in a parade. So you named coffee after him? Well, his name wasn't Grounds, but he kept saying it in court while trying to defend himself from murdering a bunch of people. So we should sell the coffee based on that. Okay. Shark Tank's going to take it up. Tara Rayner says, it's a great idea. Do it. Oh, God. Tara, I don't have Facebook pulled up at all. I hate Facebook Messenger. I hate Facebook. I hate Mark Zuckerberg. I hate Zucker Android. I am glad that the AI of Facebook killed Mark Zuckerberg and wears him as a skin suit now. Where is this? Okay, I'm looking. Oh, here we go. This is a long time ago. Tara, I don't see it. And I'm not going to look anymore because I'm tired. We got to keep going. I don't have time for this. I'm well behind. All right. So first she gets moved to the XFL. She has to think she's getting fired. But now her presence in the legal department is screwing up their plans to hire general counsel, which I guess makes sense. McMahon and Laurinaitis sounds like a Roman general, informed Miss Grant that she would be promoted to vice president of operations in the talent relations department, providing her with an organizational chart reflecting this decision. Why? What did she do? Tara Rayner says, help me get back on Twitter. Then it's a video. I'll have to look at it later. We got to keep going. Shortly thereafter, they informed her that they needed her to begin at a lower level as a director, but promised her promotion to vice president after a 12-month period. Despite Miss Grant's expressions of unhappiness and attempts to end the sexual relationship, how long has she... And while she came to understand that McMahon expected the physical relationship to continue as part of her employment, she had no idea how sordid it would become, nor how the psychological torture and physical violence would leave her feeling helpless, isolated, and trapped. Like, look, she knew that there was this physical relationship and it was a quid pro quo for the job, but she didn't know how bad it was going to get. Guys, it's bad right then. It's maximum bad right at the start. I mean, I guess it gets worse, but it's already maximum bad. People are so fucking weird. I just don't get it. Like, I can't imagine this as my fate, but maybe. Who's the CEO of YouTube now? Oh shit, it used to be a woman. Now I think it's a dude. Ooh. Thank God I don't work for YouTube. All right. In March 2020, so now it's been a year, McMahon began sharing sexually explicit photographs and videos of Miss Grant, including pornographic content he recorded. How long? She's fucking this guy for a year, I guess, with other men, both inside and outside the company, including with members of the television production tech team, executives, producers, and a world-famous athlete and former UFC heavyweight champion with whom WWE was actively trying to sign to a new contract and ultimately did sign. Wait, is it Brock Lesnar? Or was it Mark Coleman? Was it Ken Shamrock? Who is it? Oh, God, there's a lot of guys. That's got to be Brock Lesnar, right? World-famous athlete, former UFC heavyweight champion, WWE. Is it Brock Lesnar? I think that's the guy who most fits that description. Given McMahon's omnipotent position at WWE, coercion was inherent in his increasingly depraved sexual demands. Specifically, while McMahon was CEO of WWE, Ms. Grant was employed as an entry-level coordinator in the legal department. So this is back at the beginning. McMahon recruited individuals to have sexual relations with Ms. Grant and or with the two of them. I mean, at some point, you just go, you know what? Like, I don't know if I should have sex with a random guy. And he's like, no, you gotta. Like, well, I just don't know if I should do that. You know, I've never said that, though. Directed Ms. Grant to visit defendant Laurinaitis prior to the start of work days for sexual encounters. Like, part of your job is to fluff this guy, get him ready for work, and expected and directed Ms. Grant to engage in sexual activity at the WWE headquarters, even during working hours. Well, I mean, if you're already doing the other stuff, I don't see what I mean, I see why the work during working hours is legally important, but I don't see why it's morally different than any of the other stuff. It's like, well, it's during working hours. Oh, now it's bad. Eco's Sophist says, what do you think about Thirst Trap Mandy being a catfishing dude? I don't. Grifty says, I too have a use for your throat. Whiskey. Don't ever make me drink alone for a month again. I almost started going to meetings. That's quitter talk, my friend. All right, we are getting close. Tara Rayner says he is 80. He might not be any better than a 2-pump dump. These stories fall flat now. She can thank Amber Heard. Play my damn clip, jerk. I didn't see it. And try again, Tara. Only because I love you. Why? What the oh my God. I'm having to click 19 different things just to open fucking Windows Messenger. Or I just had it open. There it is. No, I don't want to lose. I don't want to update the app. Watch this clip. Oh, this is my okay. Hold on. Only because the source video here is from an actual genius. Here we go. Just this a brief aside. Brief aside on this one. Can I get a full screen? So this is Johnny Depp video.
My throat is yours.
Damn.
You're going to be the Depp.
Getting hot.
But I don't care. And then you write,
Whew.
I have other uses for your throat, which do not include.
Okay.
Well, it is Valentine's Day or Father's Day.
Do not include injury.
Sorry, could you read that again?
Right?
Funny still to me.
Could you repeat that 10 times, please?
That was such a troll. Could you read that again?
Next week, Johnny Depp launches a series of Hallmark greeting cards for Mother's Day.
Please.
God, I love
front of the card is I have purposes for your throat. You open
look at
up
how fat I was, like round my face was back then.
It's my
Anyway, I just love the idea of having to sit there, right, as Johnny Depp, and you can see him getting ready to explain. He's like, okay, we gotta explain that little text. Have other uses for your throat. Don't include injury, which just meant I wasn't trying very hard. I just, that's the beauty of really of cross-examination. You get to just ask that, like, what did you mean by this tweet? What does it say? I'm going to wreck that meat canyon, girl. Like, oh, what did I mean by it? Well, I was actually talking about a specifically designed culinary dish. Here we go. Thank you, Tara. Kate C, aka Snake Plush Kitten, says, omnipotent, does lightning shoot out of his fingers? Yes. Allegan News says, so Black Month came, so drink away. Yes, actually, but no, there's a rule today. It's for every $150 that comes in, I will have a shot of whiskey. I don't know if I'm going to do it as a shot, but I'll have a drink. And we're almost at the first one, so it'll be fun. That works on Rumble and YouTube. They're combined. Here we go. But I'm not going to drink like the whole bottle. I don't think. McMahon's assurances. Oh, wait. Sure. At this time, McMahon ordered Grant to keep their relationship secret unless otherwise instructed, including lying to maintain whatever cover stories he fabricated. McMahon's assurances that Miss Grant was safe and independent rang hollow in light of his efforts to isolate her from her friends and attempts to chip away at her identity until it was replaced with his desired role for her as his bitch, his fantasy, and or his porn star, while occasionally intermixing softer descriptions like girlfriend and baby and even love when convenient. He exercised complete ownership and control over both her personal and professional lives. McMahon also subjected Miss Grant to acts of extreme cruelty and degradation that caused Miss Grant to disassociate and or become numb to reality in order to survive the horrific encounters. Now, see, this is, in all seriousness, like obviously this shit can get horrific. This is where it gets really, the craziest stuff happens, right? So, again, it's not legally permissive just because someone has to be dumb to get into a situation that doesn't give you legal permission to do that. So separate the, like, how can, like, if your boss shows up in his underwear for your first interview and he's like grabbing his crotch, he's like, that's probably not the job you want. So ignore that. Now you're in it. The real scary thing is when these people do exert that level of control, and they do start to get people into a place where they think they can't get out. And they start to ramp up encounters or the expectations, and it gets pretty horrifying. Once they know they've got that person locked in, they go all out. It's really gross. And that's the kind of shit that really kind of gets you, because like, well, I mean, you were dumb, you got into this thing, but now it's getting like way worse. It's escalating dramatically. As one example of McMahon's extreme depravity, I'm interested. On May 9th, 2020, he defecated on Miss Grant during a threesome. And then commanded her to continue pleasuring his friend with feces in her hair and running down her back. Oh my God. While McMahon went to the bathroom to shower off. Upon his return from the bathroom, McMahon and his friend actively resumed the threesome, which lasted over an hour and a half, while Miss Grant remained covered in McMahon's filth. When McMahon's friend left, McMahon ordered her to stay and to continue to sexually gratify him. I couldn't do it, man. Like, that's gross. It's fucking terrible. What is it? You know what? There are questions that can be asked and answers that you don't want. That's one of them that I was about to ask. Tara Rayner says, and in comes the herd files. Yeah. Holy shit. God, it's hideous. Fire PA 498 says, Vince McMahon could have just dated Amber Heard. But she would have shit on the bed. He shit on this girl's head. And it was runny. Oh, God. Everything about that's terrible. Cheers, by the way. We hit the first one of these bad boys. Let's go. I'll drink the rest of this shot in just a minute as we keep going. An hour and a half. She has to do this shit for an hour and a half. Then the other guy leaves and he's like, no, you stay. And keeps going. June 2021, McMahon and defendant Laurinaitis sexually assaulted Miss Grant inside Laurinaitis' office in WWE headquarters while colleagues were busy at their desks. Behind a locked door, the two men cornered her, pulled her in between them, forcibly touched her, before ultimately putting her on top of a table and in between them. She begged them to stop, but they forced themselves on her, each taking turns restraining her for the other while saying no means yes and take it, bitch. Not legally recommended course of action. I just want to point that out. That is not, I do not, as a lawyer, suggest that path. Like Robert Frost with a road less traveled. That's the one that's not, that you shouldn't take, which I guess is a road. Ignore Robert Frost, bad analogy. Unsurprisingly, others at WWE knew it was going on, but instead of intervening to protect Ms. Grant, WWE actively sought to conceal the wrongdoing. And here they're bringing in, right, they're bringing in the organization because even though Vince McMahon is a billionaire, depending on how his assets are structured and where they're located and where they're owned, it's sometimes hard to get payouts from people, but it's much easier to get payouts from organizations. So and the organizations are still going to have deeper pockets than him. Tamara Holloway says this is exactly the same as Diddy and Cassie. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Diddy and Cassie have a similar, exactly the same, according to Tamara, issue going on. And you just got to wonder if that's like a power thing. Like, as you get richer, you're like, well, now it's time to defile someone. In January 2022, McMahon told Ms. Grant that his wife had found out about their relationship, purportedly to avoid divorce, negative publicity, and other repercussions. McMahon said that Ms. Grant's time at WWE was at an end, but that he wanted her to sign an NDA to ensure her silence on, among other things, his personal misconduct. Here we go. We're going to finish this guy. All right, gauntlet thrown. In the days ahead, McMahon put Grant under immense pressure to sign, saying that refusing would not only jeopardize McMahon, his family, and the company, but that she'd surely become a public headline, suffer reputational ruin, including from the pornographic content McMahon had captured, and face McMahon's legal resources. Conversely, McMahon reassured her that her signature would ensure his continued support and protection and safeguard her reputation. Ultimately, Ms. Grant succumbed to the pressure, something she'd done a lot, and signed the NDA in exchange for payments, which McMahon later stopped making. How long? Yeah, I mean, they eventually do stop because they're like, well, what are they going to do? So here's the thing, guys. Here's how blackmail works. Blackmail, by the way, blackmail, this is Black History Month, February 2024. So blackmail is a sign of power, unity, perseverance, and an end to slavery. But also, here's how blackmail and extortion tends to work. They take the thing, they threaten you with the thing, and you have to do the other thing. And they might promise to give you something, some sort of protection, payments, in this case, payments and protection, right? But if they're ever going to stop, they already have all the shit that they can do to you still. So when they're like, oh yeah, by the way, I was going to pay you $100 a month and now I'm not going to. And you're like, well, but I want my $100 a month because I signed the NDA. And they're like, yeah, you signed the NDA, you rescind the NDA, but it doesn't matter because I can just still do the thing that I was already going to do to you. And this is why those phone scammers or the phone and internet scammers get people where they have the, they have this scenario where they like get someone to send them a nude picture, a nude video. And then they're like, aha, I need you to wire by Western Union $4,000 right now. If someone runs down to the Walmart and they're like, and they got to pay or get Western Union, send $4,000 to like Russia or Mexico or wherever it is. Once they do, they immediately hound them for another thing of money. And they're like, but wait, I paid the thing. And they're like, but they still have the thing that got sent. Actually, I had a client issue with that. That was fun. Clients like, this is actually kind of a funny scenario. It wasn't a case at all. It was just like help. So it's a husband and wife with the worst story I've ever, like cover story ever. Okay. So they're sitting in my office. The lights are low because I couldn't afford lights. And they're sitting there and the husband is sitting so uncomfortably next to his wife. And he's like, so what I was doing was I was just going to take a video of sexy time. And you see that look. This is like a 55-year-old Midwestern mechanic looking dude. Like he's just round and burly and like gnarled. And he's like, and his wife's sitting there like, yeah. He's like, but when I went to click on her picture on my phone to send her my video of sexy time, which I guess just meant him running it up the flagpole, he clicked on the picture of this 22-year-old girl from his hometown who just randomly sent him a message on Facebook about how she grew up in the same town that he did, even though he's like 55. And she just really wanted to get to know if he knew anybody that she knew. Never met her before, but she was like, you know, young and pretty. He's like, oh yeah, I'm going to help this young maiden out. And lo and behold, when I was going to just send my wife my masturbation video, I just accidentally clicked on this girl and then it just sent automatically. I didn't even know what I was doing. And I'm sitting there looking at this and listening to this guy, and I'm like, you have got to be fucking kidding me. And I look over and I'm like, is she buying this? I think she's buying this. And she's freaking out. She's like, I know it was just accident. He was going to send me the sexy time video. And then they asked us for money. And then so we went to the Western Union. We didn't have all the money. We told them we'd get it, but we had to send part of it. And then they demanded more in the text. And I'm like, wait, so you sent them money and they kept asking you for more, right? And yeah. I'm like, well, but you didn't pay what they asked. No. Did they post your video? Because they threatened to post the video to like everybody they knew, right? That's how they do it. And they're like, they didn't post the video, but like they threatened to. I'm like, but they didn't post it when you didn't pay them enough. Like, yeah, so you got to pay them more, right? And I'm like, no, just block the number. Well, what if they post the video? I'm like, well, then I'm sorry, but you're stroking your dick is going to be on the internet, but like, how good of a video was it? Because I'm looking at, I don't know if anybody can identify this guy by his random penis or whatever. I don't know what the video is, but I'm just sitting there like, so they send it to all your family and you're like, surprise. It's how you handle that, I guess. I got hacked. Shit. But like, just stop answering. Like they're gonna get tired of it. It's just a guy in India trying to scam you. You don't have to. If you just don't talk to them, they're going to get bored and go scam the next person. That's how these work. This is how this always goes. But They always have the thing. If you just pay them, they're going to ask you for more money. And they kept asking. Same thing with my clients. They kept asking. I'm like, why are you answering these text messages? Because they're sitting there like, no, we got the money. We're coming. We're just driving to Walmart now. I'm like, why are you texting this person? You give them $10 million and they'd still be like, oh, by the way, I'm going to send this to your daughter or whatever, who's still older than the 22-year-old that you were trying to send it. That was a scam account, you idiot. You didn't just click on that by accident. My wife was right next to it. And one is 65 years old and the other one is 22. They look the same to me. Come on, buddy. Guy was bad. I think that guy died. If I remember right, I think he fell off a boat and drowned. Because he got drunk on the boat. He was alone. He peed. He didn't have a life vest on. This is Black History Month, and that guy was white, but he still couldn't swim, and this is Black History Month. Okay, anyway, that was a long tangent. I'm sorry. That was a story that just blew my mind, because I was like, who falls for this stuff? First of all, why did you send that video? First of all, why were you sending that video to your wife? Because, look, I'm looking at you, and I'm like, I don't know. Look, I don't know. I think some introspection was necessary. But second of all, okay, you're going to send that video. Fine. You're not going to send it. You're not sending it to your wife. I could tell you're sending it to this fake account, because I looked up the account. And if you just looked back, you saw like all the other profile pictures and the other cities that they said they were from. You could just, it was on the timeline. They didn't even try to hide it. It's like, oh, she's from my hometown. Like, dude, no, she isn't. She is. There's 8 people there. You would know her already because you would know her dad. And if you do know her dad, what the fuck are you doing? Fuck you. Anyway, here we go. I'm going to get out of this. My head. Let's see. See you next Tuesday has a message retracted. Hi, see you next Tuesday. Joe says, listen to the Weinstein-Tucker post today. Kind of freaking out about China and the secondary targeted viruses. Thank you for your work. I didn't listen to that, so I'm not freaking out about anything. I'm calm as a motherfucker. Chris with a huge chat. How you doing, brother? It's been a while. He says, Nick, Penny finally had our baby. Oh, God. Now I want to meet the little baby. Now we are watching as a family. Can I get a toast for our son? I waited until February for a real toast. Oh, Chris, that's awesome, brother. I'm going to tell you next time we're around y'all's area. I would love nothing more than to come by, pay some respects to you and Penny and the little baby. That's awesome. I got to meet them at one of the live events. It was great. Super nice people. Super cool. And they have a little baby now. That's great. Cheers to Chris and Penny's son. Born, I'm going to take the credit because of me and this show and the bringing of all of the necessary sexual energy to their relationship that they completely lacked until my intervention. Cheers to you guys. May your son grow up knowing the wonderful parents I have met, and may you guys protect and educate that child and keep him safe from all of the bullshit that this world wants to give to him. Cheers to you. And since that was a sufficient chat, this is the whole shebang, brother. I think it's bad when it doesn't even burn anymore. I don't know. Thanks, man. Malachi Gaming and Talk says, I see why he gets along with the Saudis. Oh, it's Vince McMahon. He got a bunch of shit pictures. Or shit emojis. Don't be a Dubai porta potty. See you next Tuesday. Says, Vince, that reminds me of when you had anime beef. Hashtag my blackface lawyer. Yes. Still the blackface lawyer. Tara Rayner says, email blackmail signed by Nigerian Prince. Also says, should have stuck with hookers. Most expensive date he ever had. His 2 hands and an imagination, and someone else got paid. Yeah, it was terrible. Why would you do this to yourself? And seriously, it's a Facebook profile that was probably run by a guy named Eric. All right. Back to this. Even after pushing Miss Grant out of the company and muzzling her with an NDA, McMahon continued efforts to exploit her, including attempting to traffic her to a WWE star who would be in New York City for a live event and TV taping in March of 2022. I wish I knew enough about WWE to discern who that was, but it was definitely Chris Jericho. I don't know that. I'm making that up. Is Chris Jericho in the WWE or is that an old name? I feel like that's an old name, and he might be in the WWE. Rita Castillo says, me pinchy Nick, looking right, thin, and a big nose. Thank you. The story of my life. Welcome. How you doing, Rita? Understandably, defendant's predatory conduct has left Miss Grant crippled, both physically and mentally. Physically? It had to be rough, including from debilitating symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder and suicidal ideation. That sucks, man. These symptoms led to her termination from her subsequent job, running her building's operations due to her inability to leave her home for weeks at a time. Hans 1PK says, does not even burn anymore. That's what she said. Despite McMahon's promise of reputational protection, WWE appears to have leaked information that led to the public disclosure of her name by a media blogger. Ooh, this is who cited a source in WWE with direct knowledge of the situation, which upon information and belief was an overt intimidation tactic aimed at Miss Grant. So this is interesting because there's a bunch of issues at play here. They want to bring WWE into this, but having a source inside WWE with direct knowledge does not mean that WWE as an organization is implicated. But they're saying it's an intimidation tactic aimed at Miss Grant, which would be implying that McMahon or one of his subordinates was either did or was ordered to release this information for that purpose. That could bring in WWE. That could pierce that could pierce the liability protections, bring them in deeper pockets. WWE has also attempted to sweep the matter under the rug following media reports that McMahon was involved in a hush money payment scandal. WWE released a statement in June 2022 to announce that a special committee of its board of directors was investigating the alleged misconduct and appointing Stephanie McMahon as interim CEO and interim chairwoman. I have a burp from drinking whiskey stuck in my lungs. Never mind. We're going to keep going. In this capacity, Ms. McMahon publicly affirmed her commitment to doing everything in her power to help the special committee complete its work. So you know what that means is that Stephanie McMahon went to the committee and she shit on them and made them have an orgy for an hour and a half too. I think that's what, is she like in on this? So Stephanie McMahon and Vince McMahon, that's his wife, right? Is that right? I don't know anything about wrestling. Stephanie McMahon. No. I mean, she's not the worst looking person, but the other chick looks better. Stephanie Marie McMahon Levesque is an American businesswoman. Her spouse is Paul Levesque. Her parent, oh, this is his daughter. Okay, no wonder she looks so much younger than him. But you never know. He's a billionaire, so you can be 80 and have like a, depending on where you are, you can have like an 18-year-old bride, right? Because they just buy them from oil barons or whatever. Here we go. In this capacity, Ms. McMahon publicly affirmed her commitment to doing everything in her power to help the special committee complete its work and to implement its findings. She also declared the importance of a safe and collaborative workplace. Notwithstanding this public statement, the investigation was a sham. Well, yeah, daughter, will you take over for me by proxy? Because definitely I'm not running it. November 2022, WWE touted the conclusion of the special committee investigation into the misconduct. Yet the special committee never even bothered to interview Ms. Grant or request any documents, despite Ms. Grant stating that she would cooperate. Why would they want to talk to her? She knows all the answers. It's terrible. What a stupid choice. Laserbeam Hawkins says, hail my favorite lawman. Cracked a 10-year Lafroig tonight. It's been a while. It's been a while since I had some peaty scotch. Worth it in a too serious cryptic tone. For the Emperor. The Emperor protects, brother. Enjoy that Lafroig. Let that burning, smoky, peaty flavor tickle your tonsils harder than your priest. In SEC filings, the company tried to divert attention away from McMahon's abuse of women by focusing on the technical issue of how hush money was accounted for. It's a good choice. That's a good tactic. Smart. In the words of the company, the issue was immaterial accounting errors related to certain payments that Mr. McMahon agreed to make during the period from 2006 through 2022. So this is a weird issue with NDAs. An NDA is fully enforceable unless the NDA is specifically restricting you from disclosing illegal activity. You cannot utilize an NDA to disclose illegal activity. You can only use an NDA to disclose or to prevent the disclosure of legal activity, no matter how depraved, how immoral, or how horrible that activity might be. It must be legal. This is really the challenge in a lot of this stuff, because a lot of shit that's really fucking disgusting and terrible that you can do to someone is legal. You just have to have the leverage to get them to do it and not be blackmail or extortion. You can't avoid these things. People do it all the time. They do it through things like it starts with consensual sexual activity. There's maybe a pregnancy involved. There's something that would, the termination of the pregnancy. There's something like that happens that would bring a person shame, maybe based on their political beliefs or something like that. And then there's other things that come up, but it all ends up being consensual. There's no quid pro quo. There's no requirements. There's nothing, but there's this implication that you might be able to cause them harm or ruin them. You might have information that could do something. You might be able to release to a spouse or partner or community or church or whatever what has happened. And if you have that leverage, then you don't need to say anything. You can just ask. And then you can do this look, right? Like, and they know NDAs work for all that shit. NDAs don't work for, by the way, we're going to force you to participate in a threesome, and while we're doing it, I'm going to shit in your hair, and you don't even get to have conditioner afterwards, bitch. That's not good. Like, you can't do that. Actually, it's the whole forcing into the threesome thing that they have to prove. Because if the threesome is consensual and not coerced, and coercion is tricky, it's easy to say coercion exists, right? It's easy to paint that coercion exists. Now, in this case, I think coercion probably exists. This whole setup seems just fucking retarded. But it seems like coercion's existing in this place. If coercion becomes really muddled, like, well, he was my boss. I was scared. He asked me to suck his dick at the New Year's party. Like, he asked you to suck his dick at the New Year's party. But he was my boss. He's going to give me a promotion or not. Did he say he was going to give you a promotion if you sucked his dick or not? That's where the coercion becomes unclear, because just making an advance to someone, while it may be improper or immoral or questionable based on the power dynamics, isn't necessarily coercive. It isn't necessarily forceful. So NDAs in those cases are all legal, even if it's gross and gritty and not unlawful activity. You can have an NDA. All you need for an NDA is two things: a promise, you will not disclose anything, and two, some sort of exchange for that promise. It could be $50. It could be $100. It could be ongoing payments. It could be, a pizza of the month club. It could be a new Tesla. It could be any number of things. It's consideration is part of the contract. If you have an exchange of promises or an exchange of goods, services, money, some representation of value, once you have a mutual exchange of value, and the mutuality is determined by the two parties because values are subjective, mutuality of value, and you have the non-disclosure of legal activity or legal information, you have a valid NDA. It's enforceable by contract, and you don't get to pierce it. This, though, look, by the way, I'm going to pay you money, give you a fake job, and I'm going to force you to fuck this guy while I shit in your face. Probably not okay. However, feces play isn't necessarily illegal, I guess. That's why furries still exist. And the diaper, the crinkle bottoms. the fucking crinkle bottoms exist because feces play is still legal as long as it's consensual. Gross. But yeah, all of that, these accounting errors could be simply business expenses that should have been personal. They can reclassify them. Vince can pay them off and tax penalty or whatever. Once it gets to unlawful activity, though, NDAs don't work. Irby says the diarrhea is the hair conditioner. Thank you very much. Oh, only if it's thin enough. Holy shit, that was gross. 3 says, as a pre-internet age person. Pre-internet. How old are you, 3? Because I believe the proto-internet invented by Al Gore was like 1964. I'd like to make a PSA. Stop recording your sexual exploits, people. What fun is that? Thank you. P.S. Now, can I have some Kula roasted coconut? I felt bad drinking during your show while you weren't cheers. 3, you're a long time astute and careful fan of the show, aren't you? How did you know? How did you know that I still had a bottle of Kula toasted coconut rum that I think you can only get in Maui? This is like drinking candy. You gotta try it. This has been a long time. Hold on. Show your floor. Oh, it's not bad right now. Well, parts of it aren't bad. Parts of it aren't bad. Look, I have 6 years of 6 years of bottles. It may look like 12 years of bottles, but it's 6 years. We're not going to talk about it. Call my therapist. She's super nice. Here you go. Kula toasted coconut rum. How did you know this? 3. I'm just going to have a little bit of this. I haven't had this in years. This bottle has been here forever. I have this whiskey barrel Lady Racket's got me that opens up and has a lazy boy in it. You put bottles in there. I forgot that it was even in there. It's been there so long because I didn't want to drink it. But I got this thing like 4 or 5 years ago. Here we go. God, it's like drinking candy. It's so good. I don't even like coconut. I don't like rum. It must just taste like man juice. Anyway, through all of this trauma, Miss Grant has endured profound suffering in silence, feelings of exploitation, loss of security, and the fear of facing the wrath of WWE. That's a bunch of sweaty men that she's probably been forced to have sex with. And McMahon's army of attorneys. Sorry. You're scared of the attorneys? The attorneys are going to shit in your hair. Like Vince will. Hey, what's up, Ducky Tats? Ducky, that thing we talked about, I want it to happen, and I'll hit you up. And McMahon's army of attorneys, if she were to come forward and bring to light the egregious acts detailed herein. Oh, I'm yawning through that statement. That time has passed. That was ominous. That's like a C.S. Lewis line. And Miss Grant seeks to hold defendants accountable for their reprehensible and unlawful acts, and for her own sake and for others. Ms. Grant seeks declaratory judgment that her NDA is invalid under federal and state laws, and asserts claims other laws and asserts claims other laws. See, here you go. This is what happens when you read the entire complaint. You'll find this in legal documents all over. It doesn't matter, but it's annoying. And asserts claims other laws. And asserts claims under other laws, including the Trafficking Victims Protection Act. Here we go. So they want declaratory relief that her NDA is invalid because it is based on protecting unlawful activity, is my guess. And then you've got, damn it, Trafficking Victims Protection Act, which means they disclosed her name or violated, her protection. And then you've also got stuff like just the basic civil claims that are going on here, sexual assault, stuff like that. Okay, that's just the intro. We're 7 pages in to the 67-page document. I definitely thought that 2 hours would be sufficient for this show. We are very, very wrong. But I am going to flip over to Rumble in a minute. Okay? In a minute. Because first, I have to tell you guys. I have to tell you guys about this show's sponsor. Come on now. This show's sponsor. I'm so fucking happy about this. I talked about this last week. This show's sponsor is chuckdefense.com/law. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Chuck fucking Norris, action movie star, film and television star Chuck Norris, is recognized the world over as an action hero. Is he? Or is he recognized as the most unbreakable man to ever be built? He's also lived the role in real life as the former karate world champion and a member of the U.S. Air Force. Like the heroic characters he portrays, people know Chuck is a man who's honest, always prepared, and good to have around in an emergency. My favorite Chuck Norris movie is still Missing in Action 3, Braddock, because I don't know how many slanty-eyed Vietnamese necks he breaks, but it's a lot of them. And sometimes he uses his thighs to do it like a woman crushing a watermelon. Good night, Rita Castillo. Have a good night. So Chuck is here. But what is Morning Kick? Here we go. Here we go. What I need you to do, I need you to do this critically, is to click on the link, chuckdefense.com/law. It's in the description on Rumble. It's in the description on YouTube. You don't have to buy anything. Just click on the link. Guys, just click on the link. Don't even think about it. You don't even need to know. If you don't click on the link, you know what will happen? Roundhouse kick to your genitals from Chuck Norris personally, but not personally. He'll personally order it. It'll be from a fat woman named Helga. Have you ever wondered? This is an ad read. If you don't know, like I'm reading a script right now. Have you ever wondered what happened to the legendary Chuck Norris? I bet you haven't, because nothing happened to him. Chuck Norris happens to other things. I recently saw a video he made and I was shocked. I don't know if that's true, but we'll read it. He's in his 80s and still kicking butt and working out and staying active. Chuck doesn't age. Numbers age and Chuck stays the same. What's even more shocking is he's stronger, can work out longer, and even has plenty of energy left over for his grandkids. That got weird. He did this by just making one change. He says he still feels like he's in his 50s. Like, I know what he's saying. He's in his 80s. He's like, I still feel like I'm in my 50s. I'm like, I'm in my 40s going, oh Christ, what am I going to feel like? We're going to ignore that. His wife even started doing that. His wife is super nice, by the way. I got to meet her when I met him in 2019. And even started doing this one thing too. And she's never felt better. She says she feels 10 years younger. Actually, it says, I'm going to criticize this ad read. It says, she says she feels 10. Oh, wait, no, that's not. There's a comma there. There's shit on my screen. She says she feels 10 years younger. I'm not going to criticize the ad read. That was my fault. Her body looks leaner and she has energy all day, which is what you need if you're married to Chuck Norris, because you're fighting off Germans. You're fighting off the Viet Cong still. You're fighting off Koreans. You're fighting off. How many Asians does he know? We're not going to get. Chuck made a special video that explains everything. Make sure you watch it by going to chuckdefense.com/law or by clicking in the link below this video. It will change the way you think about your health. Once again, that's chuckdefense.com/law and click on the link in the description below to watch the video now. You won't believe how simple it is. Just a reminder, the legendary Chuck Norris is a whopping 81 years old and yet has more energy than me. Wait, I didn't write that. That's not me. It's my fault. I actually don't doubt this. I'm exhausted. He discovered he could create dramatic changes to his health simply focusing on 3 things that sabotage our body as we age, which are marriage, children, and employment. Watch his method by clicking the link in the description box below, chuckdefense.com/law. Look, guys, I love Chuck Norris. Unironically, unabashedly, unapologetically. Love Chuck Norris. I've always loved Chuck Norris. I got to meet him when I was about 6 years old. And then I got to meet him in 2019, which means I was 37. God, I was 37 at the time. I would turn 38 later. 37 years old when I met Chuck Norris again. So it's about 30 years between meeting him and he had signed a piece of paper, had taken a picture of me, my mom, my best friend Scotty. How you doing, Scotty? I know you don't watch this show because you're a good Mormon. Anyway, my best friend Scotty and Chuck. And then 30 years later, I get to meet him again. I'm like, hey, Chuck, how's it going? 30 years ago, you took this picture with me. Will you please sign it? You didn't sign it the other time, you asshole. You signed a piece of paper, like construction paper, like the shittiest paper ever, this navy blue construction paper. You signed it, blue pen. You can barely see it, but I still have it. But he didn't sign the picture. This time he took a Sharpie, signed the picture because he's professional. It was really cool re-meeting Chuck. I love that he has this. Guys, all you have to do on this one, chuckdefense.com/law. Click on the link. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to even do the workout. Just go click on the link. I don't care if you watch the video. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to Chuck because Chuck knows that you're going to die and he's not. So fuck you. That's what. chuckdefense.com/law. This is the best ad, I think. All right, guys. Thank you to Chuck Norris, my favorite sponsor of all time. Why did that even happen? I don't know. We are going to switch over to Rumble. But first, I'm going to read John's super chat here. Nick, have you tried Buffalo Trace's unaged bourbon? White Dog, a.k.a. Moonshine. No, I have not, but I have had 10,000 Prairies, which is in Faribault, Minnesota's 1 minute aged rye, which tastes like gasoline mixed with rye bread. They have 3 recipes, all 120 to 130 proof. Wheaton no rye is the best. I've never seen that, but I will ask my liquor store for it. I haven't bought any liquor in a month because I haven't been drinking much at all. Here we go. Please do the old Rumble stinger. It's thematic. No. Here we go. Let's pop over to Rumble. I will see you guys over there. And then I'm going to take a bathroom break and we'll continue the show on Rumble. Thank you so much for joining. If you're on YouTube still, click the goddamn like button. Or if you hate the show, click the delete button on your life. Am I allowed to say that on YouTube? I don't know. It's a joke. YouTube. Click the delete button on YouTube's life. I don't care. We are going to pop over to Rumble. I'll see you there. Take a bathroom break. See you guys in a couple minutes. Peace. Peace.